1 month after motorized scooters rolled into Indianapolis unannounced, first Bird scooters, then Lime, the council is poised to put some new rules in place.
I just feel like people are confused. You know, sometimes scooters whiz past on the sidewalk and I see people walking being like, what's happening? Or they're on the road and I'm driving and I'm like, this doesn't feel safe to me.
It will be somewhat of a good idea. I mean, they were kind of wild on the sidewalks, but I was having fun going to lunch on them.
Though widely ignored, current law bans scooters from sidewalks and trails. The new ordinance also limits where they can be parked, not in the right-of-way or on private property, and it requires users to be 18.
Not that we don't want to see you in our city, we do. But let's work together so that our public infrastructure is enjoyed by everybody.
The ordinance also requires scooter companies to pay up to $15,000 a year for a license and $1 per day per scooter. Osley says to cover oversight of the program. Lime Scooters calls the fees too high, saying we are not opposed to permit fees, but the proposed ordinance is not sustainable for any business that wants to operate in Indianapolis for the long term. Some agree.
It's just a little ridiculous. The man's always got to tip his hand in every pot. You know, they say successful business. They want in on it.
The city had asked both Lime and Bird scooters to stop operating until new rules were in place. Lime did so last week. Bird began removing theirs Wednesday. But as of late morning, we saw 7 Bird scooters still buzzing around downtown. Osley says Bird's delayed compliance could hurt them.
I don't know that it'll affect them getting a license. I think it might affect them, the timing of them getting a license.
And we did reach out to Bird, but we are still awaiting a response from them. Now, if approved, the companies could start applying for licenses August 1st. Also, Osley says that they could be limiting the number of scooters the company has to 200 here in Indianapolis.
All right, so Mary, real quick question. We're talking about limits. Who would be enforcing the rules as it relates to scooters?
Self-policing, ultimately the companies, basically. I mean, if the scooters are left where they shouldn't be, or if they're seen on the sidewalks or trails and that's reported, the companies could face fines. But also, I'm told the city hopes to use those license and permit fees to hire someone who can help oversee compliance.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Mary Mills reporting live for us downtown tonight. Thank you. Well, we looked into it and we learned that Indianapolis is certainly not the only city in this country trying to regulate these electric scooter sharing companies. Today, the city of Milwaukee asked a judge to order Bird to immediately remove scooters there. In San Francisco, the city had to move to permitting the companies and still has an issue there with some of the riders not wearing helmets. What about Denver? Well, they had a similar situation to what we had here in Indianapolis, ordering the companies to remove the scooters back in June while regulations were worked out.